Buah pala ini bagi masyarakat Pulau Rhun sudah menyatu dengan masyarakat.
Welcome to Maluku, or what is often called as the Spice Islands. Indonesia was the first and for a very long time the only producer of nutmeg, a spice that is so highly valued in the 16th century that it created a war between the Dutch and the British. And what is more surprising is the resolution of this conflict is an exchange between a small tiny island called Rhun with Manhattan in New York. Join me in this adventure, in this journey to find out more about the history of nutmeg and war. We begin our journey in the city of Ambon, a city known for its beauty of mountain range and a vast blue sea. A city that is connected by a giant bridge called the Red and White Bridge. Built in 2011, the Red and White Bridge is named after the color of Indonesia's national flag. Every day, the people of Ambon cross this bridge to carry out their daily activities. In the evening, residents often take time to enjoy the breathtaking views of Ambon from the bridge. The Red and White Bridge is a cable-stayed bridge that spans over the Ambon Bay, connecting the village of Rumah Tiga in Teluk Ambon district on the north and the village of Hatife Kecil in Sirimau district on the south. This bridge is the longest in eastern Indonesia, forming an integral part of Ambon's urban planning and also serving as a landmark of the city. Our first stop is Patimura University, Faculty of Social Sciences. Here we meet with Professor Johan Patiasina, an academic who has studied social sciences, culture, and the preservation of Maluku's heritage. Here I hope I can get an insight into the history behind Indonesia's golden age when Maluku was known as the Spice Islands. During the 16th to 17th century, numerous expeditions were driven by the high demand of the spice. Exotic Indonesian spices such as nutmeg, cloves, and mace were highly sought after. The spice trade attracted traders from China, India, and the Middle East, followed by stronger European powers such as the Dutch, Portuguese, and the British.
Pala satu-satunya pada saat itu hanya dihasilkan di Banda. Dengan demikian dia menjadi sasaran dalam perebutan orang-orang Eropa ketika mereka tiba di Indonesia Timur, khusus di Maluku. Jadi yang tadi saya sebut bahwa cengkeh itu hanya dihasilkan di Maluku, dalam hal ini Maluku Utara. Dan pala itu hanya dihasilkan di Banda. Nah, secara ekonomis dia memiliki nilai yang sangat tinggi. Oleh karena itu mereka berlomba-lomba untuk mendapatkan wilayah itu. Daerah Rhun yang menjadi wilayah yang memang secara potensial memiliki pala yang sangat banyak pada saat itu di Kepulauan Banda. Jadi kemudian berhasil dalam perebutan-perebutan itu orang Belanda hanya menguasai daerah Neira dan pulau-pulau sekitarnya, tetapi Pulau Rhun yang berada pada bagian ujung Kepulauan Banda itu sendiri akhirnya berhasil dikuasai oleh Inggris tahun 1616. Nah, ini yang kemudian dia menjadi sengketa yang terus-menerus dengan orang-orang Belanda. Mereka harus menggeser Inggris supaya monopoli perdagangan rempah pala itu di bawah kendali mereka. Itu adalah satu cara untuk bagaimana mereka menjadi pengendali dalam proses perdagangan pala. Karena secara ekonomis saat itu nilai pala itu bahkan ada yang menyebutnya buah emas. Karena nilainya itu bisa hampir setara dengan nilai emas.
According to the studies and historical literature, in the year 1603, the second British expedition, led by James Lancaster, John Davis, and Sir Henry Middleton, arrived in Rhun Island for the first time. The British found that most of Rhun Island was covered in nutmeg trees. They decided to build a fort to protect the island from the invasion by other nations. This aggravated the Dutch, eventually leading to a war that lasted for 1,540 days. After years of warfare and costly naval battles, both countries finally agreed to negotiate peace, a call of peace through a series of territorial changes. At last, in 1667, the Treaty of Breda was signed to resolve this conflict. Strategic agreements were reached and the British handed over Rhun Island to the Dutch. And in return, the Dutch relinquished control of New Amsterdam, which is now known as Manhattan in New York. Professor Johan's insight has led me to question even more about what makes nutmeg so special among all the other spices. I will embark on a long journey across Banda Sea to reach the origins of nutmeg. To delve deeper into the history of nutmeg trade, we will start this quest by crossing the Banda Sea. Our entry point is Port Tulehu, located on the eastern coast of Ambon City. Once a bustling trade port, it is now a favorite choice for both local and international tourists heading to Banda Nera. I'm at the port of Tolihu, a port located on the eastern coast of Ambon in Maluku. From here on, we will travel by ferry on a 5-hour journey to Banda Nera. After a 5-hour journey across Banda Sea, we arrive in Banda Nera. But this is just a pit stop before we continue the journey to Rhun Island. Here, we will visit the remnants of the spice wars, now preserved as a historical heritage site known as Fort Belgica. Fort Belgica is a historic fort built in 1611 by the Dutch East India Company, or the VOC. It took 19 months to build this stronghold fortress, adorned with stone walls, 5 bastions, and large cannons. The purpose of this very strategic location is to control the spice trade. At that time, the Dutch was so determined to monopolize Indonesia's spice trade. The Dutch East India Company was so ambitious that they resorted to brutal measures to secure the nutmeg all to themselves. In 1621, the VOC carried out a massacre of the indigenous Banda population to prevent them from claiming ownership of nutmeg. Today, the Belgica Fort still stands tall and strong with stunning views of Banda Islands and Mount Api. But this fort is a stark reminder of a dark history of genocide and slavery by the VOC over Bandanese people to control and monopolize nutmeg. Thousands of Bandanese were killed in this genocide. The Dutch then repopulated the island with people from other parts of Indonesia. We are finally on our way to Rhun Island. The waters here are so pristine and blue. We are so incredibly lucky to be greeted by several blue whales blowing water into the air. According to the fishermen, sightings like this are rare. We are now on our way to this little tiny island called Rhun Island, and it only takes 1 hour by boat from Bananera to Rhun Island. It may be small, but it keeps a lot of story about history and heritage. As our boat approaches Rhun Island, I realize how small this island truly is. Fishing boats are lined up along the beach, and nearby are the homes of the villagers, while the rest of the island is covered by forest. Rhun Island is home to over 500 families who reside here. No one would imagine that this small island holds a treasure of spices, which was fiercely contested by the Dutch and the British in the past. One of the villagers born and raised on Rhun Island is Mr. Burhan, a respected community leader of Rhun Island. He tells us more about the island and how he perceived nutmeg as more than just spice.
Pala ini, kenapa dia jadi komuniti utama buat masyarakat di sini? Sebab dia dalam 1 tahun 3 kali panen. Jadi setiap 4 bulan itu pala 1 kali panen. Dan untuk di pasaran, harga buah pala itu sangat lumayan, sangat menjanjikan buat petani. Sehingga petani sekarang malah tambah banyak untuk menanam pohon pala. Yang dulunya kebun-kebun jadi kebun singkong, sekarang sudah beralih fungsi. Mereka semua tanam pala di kebun-kebun singkong itu. Sebab mereka berpikir lebih baik kita tanam pala, hasil pala kita bisa beli beras. Jadi kita tidak perlu tanam singkong lagi, karena singkong butuh perawatan yang sedikit sedikit repot lah, sedikit ribet perawatannya. Tapi kalau pala setelah ditanam itu tidak perlu diurus lagi. Tinggal kita menunggu saja, waktunya 6 sampai 7 tahun itu kalau subur dia sudah bisa berbuah. Kenapa dia sangat dibutuhkan? Sebab kegunaan dia itu sangat banyak dan penting. Salah satunya buah pala dan fuli itu di samping sebagai bumbu masak, juga sebagai kosmetik, dan yang terpenting juga sebagai pengawet. Jadi buah pala ini memang dari dulu sampai sekarang sangat-sangat dibutuhkan. Sehingga harganya di pasaran itu semakin hari semakin naik.
The sun sets in the west of Rhun Island. It is time for us to rest. Tomorrow, I will explore this island and hike up into the nutmeg forest. We have come here since the early mornings, but not as early as these fishermen. They've gone to the sea since 5 a.m. in the morning to catch some fish, and they have returned with 2 to 3 tons of fish. Some they called as ikan layang and also sardines, and sometimes they can even catch the tuna fish. Now the bulk of the fishes will go straight to Banda Neira to be sold, and the rest to be consumed by the local villagers. On a good day, when the weather is good, around 15 fishing boats head out to the seas. Upon returning from the seas, the fishermen will sort the best fish to be sent and sold on shore. The fish are then sent to Banda Neira, and if the weather permits, They may even be shipped directly to Ambon. After fishing, the fisherman will sit by the dock and spend 4 to 5 hours to untangle the fishing nets as long as 200 meters and stitching back the broken ones. Fishing is the primary source of income for Rhun people. However, there is another equally important source of income: nutmeg. The farmers will hike to the high grounds of Rhun Island to harvest nutmeg from the trees in the forest. Now let's take a look at this very special plant that grows in abundance in the forest of Rhun Island. This is nutmeg. It may seem like a simple plant, but back in the days in the 1600s, this plant is as worthy as gold. Now I'm going to take you to talk to one of the local farmers here. We have Pak Asis.
Ya,
Halo Pak.
halo,
Apa
Bu.
kabarnya Pak?
Baik.
Lagi kerja ya Pak ya?
Ya, lagi kerja.
Oke, Pak Asis.
Ya.
Pak Asis udah jadi petani pala udah berapa lama?
Sejak pasca kerusuhan Ambon tahun 99, saya balik ke Banda lalu berkebun.
Pak, ceritain dong kalau misalnya pala ini susah nggak sih bertani pala?
Jadi bertani pala itu agak sedikit butuh energi. Yang pertama itu ada pada proses pemeliharaan. Mengapa saya katakan demikian? Karena petani pala pada saat penanaman pertama itu belum tentu petani dia tahu bahwa pala ini yang produktif atau tidak. Sehingga menunggu 6 tahun yang akan datang, baru di situ baru kita bisa melihat mana yang produktif, yang tidak produktif.
Lama juga ya Pak nunggunya 6 tahun ya?
Sekitar 6 tahun, itu yang bagus lah.
Pak Aziz, boleh dijelaskan nggak ke saya fungsinya buah pala tuh buat apa aja sih?
Jadi kita di Banda itu menjadikan buah pala ini sebagai satu untuk masak. Masakan itu menggunakan buah pala, namanya masakan asam Banda. Asam Banda kita menggunakan buah pala itu pertama. Yang kedua sebagai bahan pengawet. Salah satu makanan tradisional kita yang disebut dengan bakasang, itu kita menjadikan butir buah pala itu sebagai salah satu pengawet yang diisi dalam botol, disimpan
Oh, jadi bisa untuk pengawet juga, bukan cuma bahan untuk masak ya.
Saja, ya.
Oke Pak, saya mau lihat dong dalamnya buah pala seperti apa. Boleh kita?
Buah pala yang bagus itu, ya, yang memiliki kualitas yang baik itu ketika dia sudah masak di pohon. Dia masak di pohon itu lebih bagus ketimbang yang belum masak di pohon kita petik.
Oh.
Ya, contohnya seperti yang ini, Bu. Ini. Yang ini itu yang masak di pohon, Bu. Ini, Bu. Ini
Yang mana tuh?
pohon.
Ini Pak, saya petik ya Pak ya?
Boleh Bu, boleh Bu.
Oke.
Boleh Bu. Dipetik.
Oh ya, wow. This humble farmer makes the process of planting nutmeg trees sounds easy, but it certainly requires a lot of patience and care to wait for the right moment to harvest. As I walk around the island, I see nutmegs being dried under the sunlight. There is no denying that the nutmeg of Rhun Island is among the best in the world. It is no wonder this commodity became a target of colonial competition hundreds of years ago. The modest life of the people of Rhode Island deeply moves me. They live self-sufficiently, relying on the natural resources available on this island. The Banda Seas today is renowned for its underwater beauty. So it seems incomplete if we have come this far without diving into the ocean of East Indonesia. Our first dive spot is located just 15 minutes away from Rhun Island, known as Nailaka Island. The weather is perfectly sunny, making it an ideal day for diving. As soon as I descend into the water, the vibrant colors of the coral reefs come into view. I drift slowly with the ocean currents and spot a hawksbill turtle gracefully swimming in its natural habitat. The underwater biodiversity in this part of eastern Indonesia is astounding, largely because it remains untouched. Divers who explore this area often hope to swim with hammerhead sharks, which can be found at depths of 35 meters. And if lucky, divers may even catch a glimpse of whales and dolphins in the open sea. One dive is not enough. We decide to dive at another spot that is also very popular among international divers who come to Banda Neira. This spot is at the foot of Banda volcano, specifically in the hardened lava flows from the volcano's last eruption in 2002. The eruption caused lava to flow hundreds of meters into the sea, creating new coral reefs and forming exotic underwater slopes. I dived in again for the second time, and as far as the eyes can see, I spot corals, all kinds and sizes, fan corals, tube corals, table corals, and a rich tapestry of marine life beneath the Banda Sea. The underwater beauty here is truly stunning. I never expected that a historical visit to Rhun Island would bring so much knowledge and so many beautiful memories. On my last day before leaving Rhun Island for good, a local woman insisted we try her very special homemade dish. I will try to remember the taste of this authentic nutmeg dish. Ibu, ini masakannya namanya apa, Ibu?
Bumbu rujak manta, Ibu.
Bumbu
Rujak manta.
Wah,
Iya.
namanya eksotis banget, Bu.
Iya, Bu.
Nama ikannya apa, Bu?
Ikan dundiu. Diu. Iya.
Oh, terus ini tuh makanan
Khas
khas
Banda.
orang
Iya, gitu.
Masak ikannya fresh lagi,
Iya.
Bu, ya dari laut. Terus coba nih. I just tried one of the best local dishes I've ever tried, and I can really taste the aroma of the nutmeg as well as the clove. This is really distinct and very unique, and I think I'm gonna finish the whole fish. Yummy. Although replicating this dish on my own would be very challenging, I don't think anything can beat the authentic flavor of nutmeg from Rhun Island. This has been an extraordinary journey. I've also learned to appreciate how beautiful it is to witness the daily lives of Rhun Island residents. Every day, they fish, they farm, and they enjoy the sun and the sea. They say that every resident of Rhun Island who travels outside the island always carries a bag of nutmeg. Because for the people of Rhun Island, nutmeg will always be a part of home.